Hey, what's going on, guys? The Horror Man back with my slasher review of Charlie's Farm. Charlie's Farm is a 2014 Australian slasher film starring Tara Reid, Bill Moseley, Kane Hodder, and Nathan Jones as Charlie. I've had a bunch of fellow YouTubers recommend this movie to me, and today I finally watched it. And as far as modern day slasher films go, this one is fantastic. I would most closely compare it to the Hatchet series. Charlie's Farm was written and directed by Chris Sun, and it definitely follows the slasher film playbook. A guy named Jason is an Australian horror fan with an American girlfriend named Natasha, played by Tara Reid. He and his best friend, who goes by the name Donkey, for obvious reasons, plan a camping trip to Charlie's Farm. As legend has it, the farm once belonged to a family of cannibalistic murderers who were murdered there themselves by a lynch mob of locals. But Charlie, as a young boy, had gotten away and was never to be seen again. Natasha also calls up one of her friends to join them so that Donkey's not alone on the excursion. The girls think it'll just be a harmless camping trip and have no idea they're actually going to Charlie's Farm because the guys don't tell them. However, after stopping at a bar on the way, the girls find out the truth when the locals warn the group not to go there. In fact, there's even an old man at the bar who claims he was there the day that Charlie's family was killed. And in typical slasher film fashion, the group of course ignores the warnings from the locals and continues on to Charlie's Farm anyway. You know where the story is going from here, so I don't want to spoil anything. So now I'll kind of move on to my opinion of the film. As I've already stated, as far as modern day slasher films go, this really is fantastic. And I would compare it to Hatchet. But I'd also compare it to a modern day Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You know, you have the cannibalistic family with the bizarre crazy killer son, in this case Charlie. Charlie's like the Leatherface, he's like the Victor Crowley. You know, he's nothing that we really haven't seen before, but he's definitely a great slasher. There's some gruesome kills in this one, a pretty good cast. I have to say I'm not usually a Tara Reid fan, but she did okay in this one. And while it's not a movie like The Sleeper where it looks like it was filmed in the 80s, it definitely has an 80s vibe to it. There is actually even a campfire story scene where the guys literally sit around the campfire telling the girls the story of Charlie's Farm. It's at that point where we see Bill Moseley, who actually plays Charlie's father in the flashback. Of course, this is not the first time Bill Moseley stars in a movie role like this. He also plays Chop Top in Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, and Otis in House of a Thousand Corpses and The Devil's Rejects. And all of these films sort of relate to each other. Not that they're connected by any means, but you know what I mean. And as I also mentioned, Bill Moseley isn't the only horror icon that makes an appearance in this film, because Kane Hodder also has a role. I do have to say, there was a point in the film where I was wondering when the killing was going to start. In fact, the first killing, other than the opening scene, really didn't happen until about an hour into the film. But it definitely kept me entertained up to that point, so it wasn't boring by any means. And when the killings did start, they came out of nowhere, so that was pretty cool. And they were definitely gruesome. I also have to mention that initially I thought it was kind of odd that there were only going to be basically 3 or 4 victims with, you know, the 2 couples going to Charlie's Farm. But then the movie fixed that because they introduced a new couple into the film. I mean, after all, what's a slasher film without more victims? Now, there was one scene that confused me a bit, and I don't know what I missed because I was paying full attention and I wasn't distracted at all. So I'm not quite sure if I did miss something or if this is just how it played out. But right after the lake kills, you know, it cuts to a scene of Kane Hodder's character with who we assume to be his wife at their house. And then it cuts to, you know, the final couple left alive in the film. And, you know, the girl's outside and she's looking for the boyfriend and doesn't know where he is. And it almost seems like we missed a scene in between there where all of a sudden they're separated. And, you know, he's hiding because he came across Charlie and he's telling her to be careful because, you know, Charlie's out there and Charlie's going to kill them and blah 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 blah, all that stuff. I'm not seeing where I missed them be separated, and the fact that he kind of just left his girlfriend out in the cold to go inside and hide. So I didn't really like that scene too much because it just kind of came out of nowhere. It seems like we almost missed a build up to that. Something of I don't know, him running off, or I was almost expecting him to be playing a joke on her at that point, but it turned out that no, he was in fact hiding from Charlie. So it was just strange to me. He basically, threw his girlfriend out there to the wolves, I guess, and we don't even see it happen. But like I said, maybe I did miss something somehow. So if you guys know what scene I'm talking about, comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are on that one. In the end, though, that would probably be my only negative for this film, because I loved it. I'm really glad that everyone recommended this to me. I want to thank Andrew Ballina, who was actually the first one to mention this, and also Jason from Horrific Nightmares mentioned this one to me as well. I know when I did my top 20 modern-day slasher film video, a few people had mentioned this one in the comments, and I noticed a few people had actually included this in their countdown and their ranking. So, I needed to get a copy. I kept seeing this everywhere, and everyone was talking about how if I loved Hatchet, then I would love this. And it's true. I definitely see the comparison in them. I mentioned it to my wife after we finished watching this. She watched it with me, and she said she could definitely see the comparison as well. But she also said Hatchet was better. And by that, she meant Hatchet 2. And she made that very clear because she said Hatchet 2 is her favorite. It has been. It seems to be a lot of people's favorite in the series, ironically, since, I rank it like third in the Hatchet franchise for me. But a lot of people seem to love that Hatchet too, including my wife, so you guys aren't alone in that. If I were to do another ranking of my top 20 modern-day slasher films, this would definitely be in my top 5. But Hatchet would still be number 1, and Behind the Mask would still be a close second. But top 5. Definitely top 5. So overall, Charlie's Farm is 94 minutes of pure slasher goodness. If you're a fan of slasher films, then I highly recommend this one. It has gruesome kills, a great setting, an awesome killer, a good cast, and a pretty good ending. As always, guys, leave me some comments below and let me know what you think about Charlie's Farm. I'd especially like to hear your thoughts on that specific scene that I mentioned. I don't know if it was just the way the film was edited, it just seemed a bit confusing, but I don't know. I'd love to hear your opinion on it. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.